Yeah, I think there are a few things that we can point to. The most significant of which I think is to remind ourselves that there's no guarantee that we just pick up where we left off at the end of 2025, right? Just kind of expecting everyone to take a step forward, I think could allow us to be complacent or to fall flat. And so, we'll take stock of the roster and we'll think about opportunities to improve that could come through multiple paths. I think we can talk about, the different elements of the game and say that, we have to examine our defense and we led the league in errors and that's not good enough. At the same time, I think our outfield defense was the best in baseball. On the whole, our offensive unit was good by almost all metrics. We were, a top 10 team in scoring runs, in getting on base, in slugging, but we didn't execute consistently with runners in scoring position, right? We struck out with runners in scoring position, and that's another thing that we can examine. But right now, I think we'll kind of zoom out a little bit and take stock of where we are, and we'll be open to all possible pathways to improving the team.
All right, that's the state of the Red Sox there. You heard Craig Breslow there. We welcome in Nat Gordon of the Tessie Podcast. Family to the program. Welcome back, my man.
Thanks for having me back. I love being here.
Well, we love having you, and I want to say this. These playoffs without the Red Sox absolutely suck.
Yeah.
With the addition of, I guess, Tigers-Mariners, which looks like a decent series, the rest of them are trash. At least the Yankees are losing. But without the Sox, this isn't fun to me anymore.
Yeah, and we love the Yankees being down 0-2, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I want to see them get swept. But the truth is, you talk about being unhappy with what you're seeing right now. As soon as the Yankees are out, you have even one less thing to root for. It's going to be root against the Dodgers at that point? It's like, yeah, we want the Dodgers to lose, but it's not personal like it is with the Yankees.
Yeah, you're right. This is terrible. Sox, we need you in this. So now 89-73 was the final record. They bow out in the wild card round. Yesterday was the end of the season press conference. We heard a bevy of things there from a lot of folks. What stood out to you?
Well, I thought what stood out to me was the outfield situation is definitely unsettled as we thought, and they're going to want to add more power to the lineup. And I think those two things are interconnected. If they want to add a DH, there's a few guys on the free agent market, trade market you could go take a look at. But if you're going to add a DH, you don't have room for all four of those outfielders. We're talking Roman Anthony, Cedar Rafaela, Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu. You're not going to have room for all those guys if you bring in a power DH bat. So it's all connected, and we're going to see what they do. But I think one of those guys could be on the way out.
Scary thoughts. So the business side that has to play into this, because I feel like there was a load of fans that were like, we're happy that we finally made it to a postseason, all is well. We talked about the bright future ahead, and there's a number of fans that are like, no, it wasn't enough. If you had to play devil's advocate, who do you think that they would move on from to bring in another DH? Because that's where the tough decisions really come into play.
Yeah, I think the only guy I would consider truly 100% safe is Roman Anthony. He's obviously not going anywhere. He's the future of this organization. Let's be real. He's the present and future of this organization. Yeah. If I had to lean one way, I'd probably lean Jarren Duran. It's hard to say. I thought Cedar Rafaela, for a portion of this year, proved to be a staple, both offensively and defensively on this team. So really, Jarren and Abreu would be the top two guys I would think. But really could go either which way just because so much of it is determined on what they can get back, who they like. I think that Abreu, Rafaela, Anthony have room to grow, whereas Duran is kind of on the other. Yeah, he's where he's at.
Right.
And, they're in a contending window, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. And all these guys have control on their deals. But just you look at guys who could keep ascending and then one guy who may be on the other side of that, who teams value and would give a lot for, it makes sense.
Yeah, but his stock's never going to be higher than it was. I want to stick with Duran for a second because I kind of have a take on him. I think the Red Sox gambled. And as a gambler, I actually appreciated it, and I defended it at the time. Around the trade deadline, there were the rumors. I'm sure you remember. You probably broke the story. Who the hell knows? But Duran to the Padres, who have been flirting with him for years, for Dylan Cease. And we saw Dylan Cease in the postseason. He pitched pretty well.
Yeah.
They're at Cancun right now, not because of Dylan Cease, okay? So, of course, hindsight being what it is, you make that deal, you may still be playing right now because you have Crochet and a Dylan Cease, right? You have that 1-2 punch. But needless to say, I think the Sox gambled because Duran was an emotional leader in the clubhouse. He was a spark plug, and I understood it. But when we got to the postseason, Gordo, I think his performance, or lack thereof, against the Yankees, if they move on from him, I personally believe the playoff performance did him in. Do you?
Well, his performance in that series wasn't good. It was a bad series for Jarren Duran. I don't think he would tell you otherwise. At the time, the talk of that deal made some sense, but in the end, with Roman going down and Abreu going down, it was probably for the best that they didn't make that trade. And in the end, like they had some arms come up and contribute. Like Connolly Early ended up contributing. I don't know where they would have been had they traded him then, even though he was playing his best ball of the season at that point, and his value certainly was higher then than it's going to be this offseason.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just don't know where they would have been without him, even though once they got there, he just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Craig Breslow mentioned no guarantee to pick up where we left off. That can be a little nerve-wracking considering what I just mentioned, but what's probably the most pivotal point that they do need to pick up from where they left off within the entire encompassing of like their game and what they brought this season?
Yeah, I think where they definitely need to pick up where they left off is with the pitching. And Alex Cora talked about it as well, the pitching pipeline that Craig Breslow talked about wanting to build. And this is going to be his third year on the job. And when the second he got here, that was what he said that the Red Sox needed to do. We got to build out a pitching pipeline. We got to have pitchers. We got to have a depth of pitchers in AAA that can contribute. And we need to be able to produce and develop stud pitchers at the big league level. And I think this year they showed the beginnings of that with guys like Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, Hunter Dobbins. Like you had guys coming up and contributing that fans hadn't heard of before the season. And again, this is the beginnings of that. Like we haven't seen what these guys are going to be capable of once they start hitting their prime years, once they start pitching full seasons at the big league level. I mean, I do think that this offseason they need to increase the ceiling of that unit.
Sure.
But they have enough depth to get through a full season with pitchers that can keep you in games and win you games. It's just going to be a matter of when you get to the postseason, are they going to have enough guys that can go out there and win a game on their own like Crochet did in Game 1?
Remember, too, they drafted a S-ton of pitchers as well. And nowadays with this Red Sox team, it's not like the old days where you develop these guys for years. We see these guys coming up in 5 minutes. So to your point about depth, it's definitely there in terms of the youth movement. I also heard them talk a lot about adding a number 2 starter. So I'm hearing all this, and we're kind of connecting the dots here as we talk. Okay, so youth pipeline is filled with young arms, right? You're talking about going out and signing or trading for a number 2 stud to go with a Garrett Crochet. So I'm hearing all this and I'm thinking, I mean, Lucas Giolito couldn't finish the season for you because of health. He's in a situation where you can retain him, you can bring him back, you got to pay for it. I didn't hear a lot of mention of Giolito. Do you think he's out of here, or do you think they'll work something out with him?
It wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't back next year, just because they have so many arms. Like you can fill that number 3, 4, 5, and beyond spots in that rotation.
He pitched well though, Gordo, didn't he, for you?
He was terrific this year, but there's so much uncertainty with his elbow. I mean, this is now the second straight season he's had an elbow issue.
Right.
And let's be honest with ourselves. Like they need a guy that they can trust to go out there and win you a playoff game. And even before the injury, Giolito, I mean, probably due to the injury, but he had kind of an up and down September. You look at guys around the league that they could trade for, like a Joe Ryan, who they obviously were after at the deadline, Mackenzie Gore, who they talked about as well, Sandy Alcantara, who they talked about, or even free agents like your guy Dylan Cease. Like these are guys that as good as Lucas Giolito was for the Red Sox this year, those guys would increase the ceiling of the team. Doesn't mean they can't bring back Giolito as well, but to me, I just think with the amount of pitching they have, you're kind of looking at, let's get one really good dude to increase the ceiling, and everyone else can kind of help us.
I'll be honest, if I'm Giolito, or I'm like on his team, like his peeps, his posse, I'd be like, bro, do a 1 year, like kind of hometown discount deal, stay with the Sox, and finish. Like, if I was him, I would want to show I can stay healthy, right? And I can finish the season. I can pitch for you in the playoffs. I only bring that up because if Lucas Giolito is your 4th or 5th starter, you're in great shape. You're in great shape. That's all.
Yeah, and with him, he could potentially get the qualifying offer this year, too, from the Red Sox, a 1 year, $20-something million deal.
It.
If his elbow's barking at all, or if he's concerned at all that teams might think he can't stay healthy, then he's going to have trouble getting a contract.
That's right.
After rejecting that deal, he could take that deal and be back on a 1 year, which, let's be honest with ourselves, the Red Sox should be thrilled if he takes it.
I would think so.
Would you want to see Giolito stick around, or is there somebody else on the market that you feel like they need to be able to pull in? And then also maybe some of the youth being able to show up Connolly early, more specifically, does that change the conversation of how aggressive or less aggressive this team needs to be offseason-wise with situating this pitching staff with a lot more confidence going into next year?
Yeah, I really think what Early did this year does change the conversation, because I think had you not seen what he can do, you'd be sitting here saying, I think maybe they need to get two guys, like bring Giolito back and get another guy to increase the ceiling.
Sure.
Now, I mean, you can still do that. It would be great. Like, I'd love to see them pay Lucas Giolito or him take the qualifying offer and then them go out and get a guy to raise the bar a little bit, get a Joe Ryan. Like, I love the idea of trading for Joe Ryan or Mackenzie Gore.
I do too.
Signing Dylan Cease. Like, Dylan
Bro.
Cease, he led the league in K per 9 this year, and the ERA was a little bit higher, but you just see the stuff and how much better he could be. Get him in with this group and see what he can do. You could have a dude for years to come if you go that route.
Yo, dog, I'm writing this down. Crochet, Ryan.
Writing it down or manifesting?
Cease, Bayo, and then whoever at 5. Early, fine. Like, whatever. That's a nice rotation, Gordo.
And then you talk about guys like you're not even talking about Dobbins, Cutter Crawford.
Right. So that's your depth,
it's
right?
Like you've got so many options, which is why I really do think. I mean, they're going to have to address the offensive side of the ball too. So they've got a couple of holes to plug here.
Okay, let's go offense.
Let's do it.
Trevor Story can opt out. Bregman's opting out. I mean, what are we doing with these guys? I understand the business. Opt out, you hit the market, your numbers go up, but are you staying with the Red Sox? That's my question for both.
Yeah, and you saw it with Breslow yesterday. It was very. There were non-answers when he was asked specifically about Alex Bregman, which, understandably, right now the decision's in Bregman's hand as well as Story. Like, those guys can opt out of their deals. I think Bregman probably a little bit more likely than Story, but both definitely on the table.
Okay.
I mean, you get those reports saying that Bregman is for certain opting out, which surprised me a little bit.
Me too.
A little bit.
Well, it's just numbers.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that he wants to leave.
No.
But I think he's saying, yeah, I'll stay, but you're going to pay me at market value.
Yeah.
Which I get, I guess.
And he's definitely built up some leverage. I mean, he proved this year with the Red Sox just how important he is.
Yeah.
Talk to every single player on both sides of the ball. Like, we talk about Lucas Giolito. Like, Bregman caught a pitch tipping issue with Giolito against the Yankees, and it helped him make it through the next month. He stayed on Rafaela when he was on his heater.
Yeah.
He credited Alex Bregman for going on that heater. So, like, this guy, obviously, what he does on the field is super important, but it's what he does off the field for his teammates. The leader he is in that locker room, in that clubhouse, that makes him so important. And I think for him, he wants to be in a place that can win. He wants to be in a ballpark he can hit in.
Yes.
It's a perfect fit for both sides. It's just going to be
Money.
How can they get there?
How much money? He can age well here. I mean, I guess my only concern if I'm the Sox, and I ain't writing the check, so what do I care? But my only concern would be the length of the contract, because he's not getting any younger, but he can age well here with the youth movement here. He's a leader. He's clutch as all hell. Like, that's really what you need. I think he's set up to age well here. It's just the length of the contract I would have a little bit of concern.
Part of it, too, is the fact that, I mean, he made a statement leaving his old team to come here. And, like, I'm sorry, the walkout song has a lot to do with it. If you're not going to appreciate him, he's going to walk on. And so I feel like he's got to continue to hold on to that. But you don't want to, when you talk about makeup, which is a lot of the conversation around Duran and why he didn't go at the trade deadline, this is a guy who really did become a makeup of this Red Sox team. So I would hope that they would find a way to connect here and make sure that he sticks around and ages well in Boston, which leads me to another conversation that took place a lot throughout the season. First base. We don't know what we don't know with Tristan Casas. Then there was all this, we need to get a first baseman in here. Then they bring in Nate Lowe. Then there's just so much up and down. Is this going to be another conversation that we're having in the offseason when it comes to solidifying some money that might have to get chewed out? Yeah,
definitely. I think Breslow being non-committal to Tristan Casas yesterday, although expected, definitely spoke volumes. They're going to explore any way they can to get a 30-plus home run bat into this lineup, which they desperately need. Because Trevor Story led the team with 25 homers this year, and even though they've got a fair amount of guys that you think, yeah, they could be 20-plus homer guys, you don't have that 30-plus to 40 home run bat that Rafael Devers was. And they traded Devers, and by all means, for the reasons they had to do that, I get it. But you do have to replace that caliber of bat, that home run power in the lineup. And with Tristan Casas' injury history, missing the majority of the last 2 years, you can't count on him to be that guy either. So you need certainty.
Okay, Gordo. You talking around all this. Let's put some names on it. Because I've been saying this team needs a big, burly lumberjack of a man with a bat in this lineup. And there's 2 names right now. One of them should have never left, Kyle Schwarber. The other one's Pete Alonso. Who are the Sox getting it? Because it's got to be one of them.
Well, I would be head over heels for Kyle Schwarber. I don't think the Phillies are letting him get away.
Okay.
I'm telling you that would be prime #1 option. Just Kyle Schwarber on this team would be such a perfect fit. And you're right. Should have never let him left. That, to me, like, call me crazy. Like, that one was even more inexplicable than Mookie Betts.
Yes.
But I digress. Like, him, Pete Alonso, felt like you were describing Pete Alonso. They need a big, burly guy that's going to get in here, hit 30+ bombs.
Lumberjack.
Like,
choose rocks type.
Exactly. You got a couple others. Maybe.
Choose rocks type. Like,
what?
You don't need teeth. We just need you to have a hot bat.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally fine.
But Eugenio Suarez is a free agent. 34, going to be 35 in July.
Yeah.
He hit 49 home runs this year. Josh Naylor, also a Mariner, could be a middle-of-the-order guy.
All these people were available at the deadline, man.
I know. And the Sox were after them, too.
I know.
The Mariners get both. Marcell Ozuna, a free agent, and then another guy out of Japan that people have been talking about for a couple of years, Munetaka Murakami. They call him the Japanese Babe Ruth.
Whoa.
I don't know if the Red Sox should be taking shots on unproven commodities, but if there was an unproven commodity to take a shot on, maybe it's the Japanese Babe Ruth.
Wow. Tell me more about this guy. I know he's going to be expensive. Is he young, old? What is he?
He's young.
He's young?
He's 25 or 26 years old.
All right.
He kind of made his mark in the World Baseball Classic. That's when he kind of, like him and Roki Sasaki and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, kind of became household names, at least in the U.S. at that time. But, yeah, that's a guy, he has some swing and miss in his game, but he can hit the ball out of the ballpark, that's for sure. If there's one thing that you're going to get there, he's going to hit home runs.
All right. Hey, we learned that the Red Sox are going to get a big, burly man with a bat at some point.
With no teeth and choose rocks.
Yeah, we don't know who, but we know he's coming to the Red Sox. That's all that matters. Gordo, thanks for getting up with us, man. You know we love when you come here, whether it's on Zoom or in studio. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
We love having you here, actually.
Yeah, well, we prefer here, no doubt. All right, when we come back, hey, the Patriots are like the new flavor of the moment right now in the NFL. But all of us are like, duh, no Shaq, Sherlock. We tried to tell you this team would be good. We'll talk about it next. State of the Pats here on Boston has entered the chat. Come with us.